Hi, my beautiful kings and queens. Welcome back to my channel. So, kings and queens, I am back with another word today. So, I hear the Lord saying, God says, He says, everyone's not going to understand the anointing that is on your life. He says that we must stop trying to get people to understand the grace and the anointing that we have. God says that we, as being His children, He says that we must stop trying to explain ourselves. He says we must stop trying to get our family to understand the anointing that we have. God says that you must continue to do the job that He has created you to do. God says that you must continue to be the voice for Him. I don't know who this is for, but God says, He says that they're not going to understand the gift that you have. They're not going to understand the anointing that is in you. God says that they might see the grace and the miracles that has been happening for you, but God says that they won't ever fully understand the anointing that you stand in. They won't ever fully understand the grace that God has given you. So, kings and queens, your family, they're not going to understand what you have. They're not going to understand the gift that you have. And God says that we must stop trying to explain ourselves to people. He says that we must stop trying to fit in. We must stop trying to get people to accept us. God says that He says that you will forever be an outcast because you are spreading His gospel. He says that you will forever be an outcast because you are one of His prophets. You are one of He says that you are one of His chosen ones. So you will never fit in. God says, just like Jesus and His disciples, they stood out amongst the town. They stood out amongst the crowd because there was He says that there was such a grace and an anointing about them that they would stand out. God says that you must stop trying to fit in with the crowd. You must stop trying to explain yourself to your friends. Your friends, they don't use their spiritual eye when it comes to certain things. So if you are still of this world, of course you're not going to understand the spiritual realm that person has reached. You're not going to understand the spiritual anointing that is on them. So God says that you must use your spirit. He says that you must use your spiritual discernment. He says that you must discern the people that are still of this world. He says you must discern the people that are truly for Him. So, kings and queens, stop trying to explain yourself to your peers. Stop trying to explain yourself to your family, because they're not going to understand the anointing that is in you. They're going to see the blessings that God has gifted you with. They're going to see the miracles happening. But God says that they're not going to understand. He says that they're not going to fully be able to grasp the anointing that is in you. So, kings and queens, we must continue to spread God's gospel. We must continue to spread His word. And God says that He is going to bless us for our diligence. He says that He's going to bless us for our obedience. He says that things are happening for you. He says that He is about to show the people who you are. He's about to show the grace and the anointing that He has placed in you. And kings and queens, He says your family's not going to understand. He says they're not going to believe the blessings until it has come to fruition. He says, while you are in this learning season, He says, while you are in this season of grief, He says, some of us are grieving our past. Some of us are grieving the old things that we used to be consumed of. But God says that while you are in this, He says that while you are in this season, He says that they're not going to understand. He says they're not going to understand the things that He has placed in you. So, kings and queens, continue to spread God's gospel. Continue to know who you are in the kingdom. And God said that He is going to bless you for your diligence. He's going to bless you for your obedience. And He says that you are going to continue to shine. He says that their glow is always going to shine because you are His child. So, kings and queens, I love you all so much, and I will be seeing you all in tomorrow's video. Bye, my kings and queens.